So, being a dad or a mom, as I'm sure many of you can relate, we don't always have uninterrupted time to sit down and edit our images, which is one of the things I really love about DxO PhotoLab. I can open a folder, pick an image, and get straight to work. There's no importing, no catalog management, and no waiting around. Heck, I didn't even have time to set my sound up properly this evening as I'm doing this in between my wife making our son to sleep. But be that as it may, brings me to the point of this video, which is I would like to share with you guys as a parent, dad, mom, photographer, trying to squeeze things in between everything else. The 5 things I love about DxO PhotoLab that helps me save time in 5 minutes. So I'm going to put this down. I actually got a timer because my editing videos tend to go a little bit longer if you've watched any of my videos. So I'm going to reset this rather to 5 minutes, and I'm going to share the 5 things I really love about DxO PhotoLab. So here we go. Okay, let's get into it. So firstly, like I mentioned, there is no catalog import, as you can see on the screen here. I've got my image library open on my hard drive or external hard drive on the left here. And all I do is I navigate in my image folder, in my case digital negatives, to where I want to be. Particularly for this video, I have a folder open from 2024 from a family holiday, fittingly enough, in Finale Liguria, Italy. So we'll open that up. Let me just quickly reset that. So there's a lot of images here. Didn't have to import, just open up the folder and I could get straight to work. Now I filtered out a couple so we can get that done. So that's the first thing, no import. And secondly, images look good straight off the bat. So if we double click on the first image here, by default, DxO PhotoLab has a natural preset or a natural set of adjustments, which it automatically applies to each image. So you can see the image here. If I go to compare, it'll show the original raw and the image as DxO imports it. And again, there's not much I want to do with this to get it to where I want it to be. Same with the next one. That's the original raw, and that is the DxO import. Same with this one. Original raw, DxO import. Same with this one, original raw, DxO import. You get the idea. Secondly, if we actually come back to this image of the harbor, you can see if we enlarge that to 100%, there's quite a bit of noise here. And the nice thing about DxO specifically is I don't actually have to play around with any noise reduction sliders. I can simply go at the top here to the details section, hit D' 3, and you'll notice that DxO doesn't actually give a preview or a full resolution preview of the noise reduction. You have to open the loop tool at the top here, and then it will give you a preview of what the noise reduction looks like. Normally it's a bit small. If you click on that white square, it opens up a bit. It opens up the loop tool a bit bigger, and then you just simply drag it around. And there you can see what the preview of the noise reduction. So yeah, quite remarkable. Okay, let's close that down. Moving on to number 4, which is the optical corrections. And I've spoken about this in my other DxO PhotoLab videos, specifically the last video about my full workflow. You can go back and check that out if you want, or if you like. So the optical corrections are under details. We have, oh no, sorry, I lie. So when you import an image, automatically it applies something called Clearview Plus, which if we toggle that off, it's just a slight little dynamic contrast adjustment. But more importantly, in the details tab, it has what we call, or what DxO calls, lens correction or lens sharpness optimization. My English is failing me. Lens sharpness optimization comes from having a Swiss wife. So if we enlarge this to 100%, keep a lookout on the finer details here. I'm going to toggle that off, and you can see how blurry that gets. Now that comes from DxO's camera body and lens profile pairing optimization, which it does in-house, and it's really, really phenomenal. So I'm just going to enlarge this image as well, and I'm going to toggle lens sharpness optimization off. And you can see it almost goes like it's out of focus, and we just toggle that on. And it's automatically sharp in properly in focus, and there's not much else I need to do with that regarding sharpening, etc. And under perspective or geometry, you also have lens distortion correction. Toggle that on and off. And again, that's all automatically applied, nothing you have to do additionally. So lastly, we have local adjustments, which is masking, if you're familiar with Lightroom. And what's nice about the masking module is it works with viewpoint technology. So we toggle that on this particular image. And we have a control line. There's a lot of stuff here, but what I would like to highlight specifically is the control point. So all I do is I select it and I click on something I would like to adjust. So let's say the yacht here, and I enlarge that a little bit, maybe a little bit smaller. And then I can play around with chroma and luma, and it will actually dial in that selection specifically on the yacht. And oh, there's my timer going a little bit over. Give me a moment. I've got 30 seconds grace. And then I can literally just adjust the, let's say, the shadows on the yacht, bring up that a little bit. And again, I didn't have to do any complex masking, just drop that control point, dial it in, and make my adjustments. So yeah, that's my 5 favorite things about DxO PhotoLab in 5 minutes and a couple of extra seconds. I actually have a bonus tip for you guys, which falls outside of the 5 minutes, which is more of it's not necessarily a specifically technical editing tip within DxO PhotoLab. It's more of a philosophy, I would say, where, in terms of DxO PhotoLab getting you to where you want to be, much quicker than any other software, you still be selective with your edits, essentially, because DxO helps you get through the good enough files really fast, like we saw. With these images, there's not much else to do besides straighten the crops, maybe 1 or 2 small edits as regards to exposure and contrast a little bit, and then that really opens up your time to really spend more time on the images that really matter. But regardless, I get through my images quicker. I have to do less of them, which means I can actually spend more time just being a dad, spending time having a glass of wine with the wife on the couch, or getting out there and making more images. Awesome. Hope you guys found that useful. Drop your favorite things about DxO down in the comments. And if there's anything else you'd like me to make a video on, also let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Over and out.